NXT took place tonight in Orlando, Florida from the WWE Performance Center, and this was the follow-up show to Vengeance Day and the final show before their special episode next week from Cincinnati, Ohio at another theater like it was earlier this year in Atlanta, Georgia. And this kind of felt like more of a filler show, kind of a bridge between Vengeance Day and the Cincinnati show. So I really didn't like this show too much, to be honest. A lot more setting up, it seemed, than actual having a good show. So they recap Vengeance Day. You had Obafemi coming to the ring, and he calls out the group that attacked him last week and said he's interrupted by the TNA X Division champion, and looks a bit too big to be X Division champion. The last time I was watching TNA, I don't know if they got rid of the weight divisions, but it was Moose. And Moose challenges him to a match. Oba accepts, and that's set up. Jordynne Grace arrives outside from the Performance Center. She enters the building. They show Ricky... Sorry. Did I say Ricky Starks? I made a mistake. That's the last time you're going to hear him as Ricky Starks for quite a while, because he got a new name. That's what I was worried about. They weren't calling him Ricky Starks right away, and I wasn't paying much attention to it. But now I'm starting to pick up on it this week. They never called him Ricky Starks, and I figured, I might change his name. At least he's still Ricky. We'll talk about it when we get to that segment. Jada Parker's out to the ring. They showed in the backstage Eddie Thorpe bothering Eva for a title shot. She mentions how he got so many opportunities. Then you have two guys. I don't know who their names were. They were, I think they were with Chase. You were affiliated with them. They set up a match with Eddie Thorpe and Andre Chase there tonight. He had the triple threat number one contenders match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. You had Jada Parker against Kalani Jordan against Carmen Petrovich. I really liked the match. It was very good. I liked the spots where they kept having all these chain submission holds. They'd have Carmen put one in, then Kalani, then Jada. They keep going back and forth. There were some good splashes, too, to break up submissions. So what happened was Jada hits her finisher, which is kind of that sit-down while her opponent's in the corner. And she hits it onto Kalani, and then Jada's basically celebrating in the ring. And what she didn't know was Carmen was on the outside. Ashanti threw her in, and Carmen basically rolls up Kalani for the win. So Carmen wins the match. Ashanti sucks, by the way. He should be fired. He's fucking horrible. I don't want to see his gimmick. I hate how he's doing it, Carmen. I don't like Carmen Petrovich either. She hasn't impressed me. This is the worst gimmick in all of NXT. I want both of them. I want this gimmick to end. I don't know if they should be fired, but it fucking sucks. So after the match, Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan continue their feud. They've battled to the back. And then we have Fatal Influence run out, and it's kind of funny. They just beat the living shit out of Carmen Petrovich. And Ashanti Johnson, or whatever his name is, Ashanti Theodonis, I don't know what his name is. He fucking sucks. I hate that guy. He's in the ring watching. He's just allowing it to happen. It's kind of funny. He's just watching them beat the shit out of his girl. I kind of laughed. And then he's trying to get the security guards, and men can't touch him, and so what are the security guards going to do? They just stand on the outside, and then eventually I think it's JC Jane. She hits Ashanti with the chair. I thought that was hilarious. They continue to beat up Carmen, so Stephanie Vaquer runs to stop it. And then it's basically 3-on-1. They're going to beat up Steph, and then Julia comes out. So it's Julia and Steph, the best friends in the world, the BFFFs. That's what I heard they are. Julia comes out to stop it, but then it becomes 3-on-2, and they beat up Julia and Stephanie too easily. I didn't like that, especially it's like one of them's getting beaten down. I think it's Julia. I forget. I don't know if it's by Jasmine. I didn't really like that. I thought those two are so much better than the other three. They can handle them. But then someone comes out to make the save. It's the one and only Jordynne Grace, who is here. She evens the odds. She kicks all three of their asses, and it sets up a 6-woman tag team match as the main event later tonight. They showed the Angelo family, in particular Stax, staying ready for his match at Shawn Spears later tonight. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson go up against Zaria and Sol Ruka. Okay matchup. The tag team pairing with Sol Ruka and Zaria, it's an odd pairing. It's kind of like a Team Hell No type team where it's odd, but it's starting to kind of work. I just think Sol is very talented. I really think her athleticism, once she stays in NXT for a little bit longer, she really gets to become a better wrestler. I think she has a lot of potential. I really like Sol Ruka. Zaria, not much. I don't really see much for her, but Sol, I think, does. and they got the win here. I don't know what they're going to do with Jakara and Lash. I mean, they just had him challenge Bianca and Naomi a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago. I'm thinking maybe they can be part in a team, in a faction with Naomi. I don't know, but we'll see what they're going to do with them. They might go to the main roster sooner than later. Backstage, you had Sarah Screeber interviewing Wes Lee and his group, and then someone walks by. It's Ricky. He walks by. Sarah is so enthralled by him that she just blows off Wes, and it's hilarious. And Wes is pissed off. He's cussing her out there. She interviews Ricky, and it sets up the contract signing, which is next. Ricky's out. He's pumped to be part of NXT. He's talking about how he wants to win the NXT title and headline every single PLE for NXT. Then you had Ethan Page interrupt him. Ethan says Ricky is trying to follow in his footsteps. They didn't mention where they both came from, but a similar place. It's, I guess, from Jacksonville to Orlando, not too far. Then they mention Javon Evans and how Ethan won. And then that leads to Javon coming out. He battles Ethan Page. They go to the back. Ricky's about to sign the contract, and he's interrupted again but this time Wes Lee. They go back and forth. Eventually, it leads to a match being set up next week. We thought it was going to be a singles match in Cincinnati. It didn't turn out that way. Ricky and him stare down. Ricky can see from a mile away that Wes is going to take a shot at him. So Ricky counters. He eventually clotheslines Wes over the rope, signs a contract, and now we see a close-up of the contract, as you can see on the thumbnail. His name is no longer Ricky Starks. From now on, he is known as Ricky Saints. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when Ricky Saints goes marching in. I don't know, is that going to be a theme song? So the reason he did this is it's the Saints, and he's from New Orleans, I believe, or around there. So that's why he went with the Ricky Saints name. And everyone knows about New Orleans and the French Quarter and the history of the Fleur-de-Lis and the Saints. That's why, and of course, the football team's named the Saints. That's why I guess he went with the Saints name. I don't know. I think Starks is just fine. They have Zoe Stark on the main roster. Is that why? But who cares? I mean, how much longer she's going to even be with the company? She sucks. I mean, whatever. I don't know. Ricky Starks is just a name. It seems like just a normal name. Ricky Saints. It's not the worst thing in the world. I've seen much worse names. I think it's unnecessary. So backstage, Fraxium's interrupted by the No Quarter Catch crew. Looks like they're going to challenge Fraxium to a match. They're just being interviewed by Sarah Screeber. And said out of nowhere, No Quarter Catch crew challenges for a match next week in Cincinnati. They challenge the Hardy Boys, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. All right. Backstage, Ricky's there. He sees a bunch of wrestlers who got jumped, and this is right where they walks past Gorilla. It just looks like a bunch of wrestlers dead on the floor. It's kind of funny. Almost reminded me of like the Wyatt Six debut last year when they like murdered half the roster. That's kind of what we're getting here. He had Stacks against Sean Spears. Spears wins. I'll be honest with Spears. I'm bored. I don't care about his gimmick. He's just there to help younger talent get over, and he's just there to work with younger guys. He's almost like a trainer type. I don't think he's actually a trainer. He's just there to work with younger talent. He's Sean Spears. His dark gimmick. I don't care. And I really want to see Ty Dillinger back. Even if it's just like one night. Can we just get the perfect 10 again? We got Fandango back. We can't get Ty Dillinger? Come on. Lexus King, he runs into Moose backstage. They eventually set up a match next week. I guess Moose will eventually challenge Obo. I don't think it's going to be at it's not in Cincinnati. We know that. It's probably, I would guess, New York. The New York show. I don't know if it'll go all the way to not Takeover. Why do I keep calling it Takeover? Stand and Deliver. It feels like a takeover because the shows have really gotten better on PLEs. But it looks like that's where we're heading. I would guess New York is Obafemi and Moose. And I would guess Obafemi is a different challenger for Stand and Deliver. That's still like almost 10, actually about 8 weeks away. It's still a long time, almost 2 months. And if we'll talk about the WrestleMania build being slow, man, we're still a long time away. But it's Moose and Lexus King next week. Andre Chase is upset at the two guys for bringing him into the match. He's upset with them backstage. Then we get Andre Chase and Eddie Thorpe. Not a fan of Eddie Thorpe. Why'd they fire Duke Hudson, by the way? They could have just kept them up, and eventually they're going to do the big Chase U reunion. with Duke and, of course, Andre Chase and the other guy, I forget his name, and Thea Hale, who's doing nothing, by the way. What are they doing with Thea Hale? They're not even using her. It's so weird. They give her nothing now. We're eventually going to get it, and that's what they're building to, but why would they fire Duke if... It kind of makes you think they might not get it if they wouldn't have fired Duke if they weren't planning on bringing back Chase U, and it seems like that's the case. They're not going to bring him back. But I think once they do it, if they do it, it's going to get a big pop. And they can just be on the main roster. People say it's an NXT act. Yeah, as it's like a push stars, but they can be a fun comedy type act on the main roster people might get into. You never know. Anyway, they have Andre Chase losing his confidence during the match. He looks at the two guys who got him in the match. He just gets sad. He loses to Eddie Thorpe. I was thinking he had way too much offense against Eddie because Eddie just beat Trick on the pay-per-view or on the PLE. Thought he got too much offense in. Then we have Trick appear on the screen. He says he's not done with Eddie, and the feud continues. I'm happy with that. If Eddie just won the first match, that's fine. If Trick can beat him, because I don't think Eddie should be getting the one over Trick, even if Trick goes to the main roster. The potential is just there's such a gap in between Trick and Eddie in terms of star power. I don't think Eddie should be getting anything over Trick. Backstage, Ricky Starks is with Ava. He runs into Ethan Page and Wesley. They're about to go at it, and then Javon Evans is there, and eventually Ava sets up a tag team match next week. It's Ricky Saints. I mentioned Starks. I'm sorry. He's not Starks anymore. He's Saints. Ricky Saints and Javon Evans against Wesley and Ethan Page. Tag team match next week. Then we got a video from the Hardy Boys. They officially accept the North Quarter Catch Cruise Challenge. And next week, we will see the Hardy Boys in the WWE once again as they challenge a No Quarter Catch Crew. Fans are going to love the Hardys, but I think them in WWE, I think the time's passed for that. The announcers, Vic Jones and Booker T, then preview next week's show, all the matches they have set up. Everything just came together this show. It's kind of weird with how they book Cincinnati because all the TV previously was just set up for Vengeance Day. Now, this TV was basically all for next week. That's all it was. That's why I said it was just like a bridge show. Right after Vengeance Day and right before the Cincinnati NXT show. And it's kind of just felt like a throwaway show, just a setup show. That's how I kind of felt like it about the show tonight. Then we get to the main event. It's Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace against Fatal Influence. That's a team of Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix, who no longer has her face mask. Her nose is healed. So for the match starts, they get the heat on Stephanie, and that, I guess it makes sense because she's probably the most over of any of the women in NXT now. They like Julia a lot too, but Steph was more over than Julia at Vengeance Day. They both got pops. Fans kind of like Jordan too, but I think she's just better as a heel than a face, in my opinion. Anyway, they get to hear on Vaquer for a while. It was a solid main event matchup. It was more of a display for Jordan Grace. Eventually, Jordan pins Jasmine Nix. As Jordan celebrates with Julie and Stephanie Vaquer, it's basically Jordan in the middle, and then on the left side is Julie, on the right side is Stephanie Vaquer. Both Julie and Stephanie raise their titles, and what happens is Jordan takes a glance at the NXT Women's North American Championship and the NXT Women's Championship. Glances at both of them, but looks like they're all still friends right now for a while. But that's how it ended. They really do a good job at showcasing the women's division. You had a good triple threat match. The women main event in a 6-woman tag. You also had a decent tag team match. They're really carrying NXT right now. That's the thing. The men's division's weak. I think that's why they're going to push Ricky for a while, and I think that's why they got him, because they need talent in the men's division, and especially with Trick going to the main roster. Eddie Thorpe, I don't think is a good heel. Ethan Page, I like. Ethan Page and Trick, I think, and Ricky, I think would be a good matchup. They can do that. And you have Wesley, who I'm not too sold on as a top guy. Javon Evans, I think, has a lot of potential. But the men's division, it's not too deep. The women's division is awesome. It's carrying NXT. It is the heartbeat of NXT right now. That's a start to say it's the best women's division in the world. I agree. And it's really carrying the show. Now, the show didn't end. We go backstage. We see Ava. She's going backstage, and what happened was one of her assistants, the guy she's always, there's always a guy and a girl. Her two assistants, the guy was just basically brutally assaulted by this new rogue faction in NXT who doesn't have a name. They basically practically murdered the guy, and that's how the show ends. And I thought NXT this week, not the best show. I've reviewed so many better NXTs. This just felt like more of a setup for next week, and they didn't really have much time to set up the Cincinnati show because they spent all their time building up Vengeance Day. Not a big fan of tonight's show, to be honest.